participation is that people show up and we often, well, that takes us right to the next one, but we often ask them to speak to only one level, and they're actually experiencing all the levels all the time. So it might look like a circle in our schools, and you look like your role as student. But it's bigger. It's both bigger and smaller than what we're working on all of the time.
So you use the term levels, but
Yeah.
specifically we're talking about, we're having a conversation and I'm a parent. So and my child's at the school, you know, I'm always carrying that identity with me,
Yep.
right? I'm looking for some specific language when we say levels and across, I guess, broad spectrum.
Right.
As,
So
me. Oh, sorry.
that's all right.
Rats.
So when I say levels, I'm meaning very specifically, and we're going right into the last one, I'm talking about the personal level, the interpersonal level, the organizational level, system and structure. So the last one is invite multiplicity, which often goes to the role question. And so inviting multiplicity is inviting the whole person into participating. So what does it look like to actually invite the whole person? We've all been invited as the diversity practitioner into certain conversations where maybe that's our role, so that's how we're showing up. I'm actually experiencing that kind of a resurgence of that in my work right now. It's really strange to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and I mean, I love equity and justice, but you know, I do lots of stuff, right? Like I have this whole suite of skills that is absolutely informed by that, but that's not all. I mean, half the time I enter in a call as a mom because somebody's like pulling on me that you can't see off the camera, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how do we invite the whole person into our participatory engagement? And so one of the ways, and keeping that in mind, and so that was, again, with the farmers conversation, I said earlier, I mean, I gave you some signifiers, right? Young black farmer, older white farmer. And what they did was he came over and invited a different role for himself, a learner and maybe a teacher, or maybe a colleague. I don't know what they were inviting, but they were beginning to see themselves and each other separate from their roles, or different from their roles, or inclusive of their roles, and more than that. And so distinct practices of inviting multiplicity in people, so that we're not just inviting that role or that label or that identity, because people always know when they're invited in based on role or identity. Right? And so we do things like simple things like check-in, right, which invites them to say something about, you know, we use the check-in question all the time. What do you need to leave at the door, and what do you need to bring in with you to this meeting? And the things people say to that are like things like, well, my brother was just in a car accident, so I just got that phone call, and so that's what I need. And then like, it's like, oh, you're not the guy I've been fighting with forever. You're like a guy whose brother was just in a car accident, right? And so like that changes the participation, changes the conversation. How do you invite people to share, to their comfort, right, different things about themselves that allow you to see them differently? And so often when you begin to invite multiplicity, you'll find out people are poets, or they sing, or they are one of 10 children, or just like these